So Joe, you brought us into the nursery, which you can see behind us, but we're in this general aquarium area at Niwa, and it might sound like we're at the beach because you hear all these waves, but it's these tipper buckets with all sorts of other experiments you got going on. If you have a look over there, you can see some power that they're growing. Don't think I'll miss a couple, eh, Joe? Some tiny little crayfish to see how fast crayfish grow. Some massive chili bins here, which would look great on my boat. But behind us, Joe, is this nursery where you're growing seaweed. Tell us about the setup you've got behind us.
Yeah, so like you said, this is the seaweed nursery, where I spend quite a lot of my life at this point, growing baby seaweeds. Everything you can see behind me is kind of in service to one of 5 things that seaweeds need to grow. Stuff that they have in nature that we're trying to like recreate in an artificial setting. You've got Ra, light. So you'll see the big grow lights hanging above the tanks behind me. That helps the seaweed photosynthesize. You've got Wai Makariri, so like cold water, especially giant kelp. They really like cold water. So we've got a big fridge unit behind the tank setup, which cools the water coming in. Not that we need it right at the moment, it is pretty cold in Wellington. We've got Omoana, so our circulation that helps break up that water, it helps oxygenate it, and it helps circulate those nutrients across the seaweeds. So those are the
tipper buckets.
Yeah, the big tipper buckets you'll see just dropping water into the tanks. Talking about those nutrients, they need taiora, they need nutrients, so that we artificially add nutrients to the grow tanks, which obviously feeds the seaweed and helps them grow. And lastly, we have Waiora, so we have like clean, clear water. We have mechanical filters just over here. We have a UV filter on the back of the tanks, and that filters all the seawater that comes through, removes physical contaminants, and then the UV will kill like the little things that get through that. That means the water that's in the tank is free from like stuff that's going to outcompete the seaweed, stuff that might eat the seaweed, and it keeps the water nice and clear so that the sunlight can penetrate and help that photosynthesis.
Sounds amazing. Recreating nature. Well, let's go and take a closer look at what's growing in the tanks. Come on. Okay, so here we are next to the seaweed grow tanks. Joe, talk us through the next part of this process.
Yeah, so from the last video where we made our gametophyte culture, our slurry, that slurry is going to go into the seeding tank right at the end of the system. Seeding tank's a little bit different. It's cut off from the main system. There's no tipper bucket because we don't want that like extra wave motion to kind of tear the baby seaweeds off the rocks. The lights are also a little bit lower to give the seaweeds a chance to establish and not like bleach like really early on in the cycle. From that point, when they are established and they've started to grow, they come to our main grow tanks, which are included in the system. They have all the things that we talked about before, like the tipper buckets, more intense light, more food. And then after a few months, you'll end up, hopefully, with a bunch of baby seaweed. Now this stuff's been in here for maybe about 3 months, upwards of about 8 centimeters on some of these blades, maybe 9 centimeters, and this stuff is ready to go out into the environment.
Baby giant kelps.
Baby giant kelps, but they're not going to go out like this.
Right.
So what we're going to do is we detach them from that rock. We get right underneath the holdfast, pull it off the rock. We then take that baby sporophyte, that baby seaweed, we get a bit of string, open it up, feed the stipe through that string, tighten it up, tie it nice and tightly to a big old rock, chuck it into the sort of like the holding tank that's next to me. They'll be in there from anywhere to a day, 2 days, up to a week. Then once they've had a chance to kind of sit there for a minute, we put them into our big containers, we ship them out to site, and then we put them back out into the environment.
It's such a cool process, isn't it? You're taking something from its natural environment, bring it into a lab, making a whole lot of seaweeds, and then putting them back into nature to regrow Rimu in the harbour. It's fascinating.
It's a really cool process to kind of go from that woe to go, just the whole process. And I don't know, through that growing and taking them back out, I do get really, really attached. So, you know, seeing those, my babies, out in the environment, growing and thriving, is a really rewarding process.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Joe.
Te whanganui atara